Thank you for tuning in to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast, a no judgment zone podcast that covers lifestyle, entertainment, news, and sports. Even though KC doesn't watch sports, but these are minor details. By the way, he reads tarot cards too. Yes, I really mean it. He reads tarot cards too. And now, the host you've tuned in for, KC Phoenix.
Welcome to the Keeping It Real with KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix. Oh my gosh, it is morning time. I'm just... So, yeah, here we are. I decided to do this episode. This is kind of like a follow-up episode. I almost feel like I'm doing a Where Are They Now episode. But back when I moved here, because for those who don't know, I lived in Los Angeles. I lived in Los Angeles for over a decade. And I decided to move. And I didn't tell anyone about the move, which, if you don't know about that, you can go to the episode and listen to it. It's called Broken Silence After the Move. It gives some of the details of the things that went on. And I had some of this drama happen like right after I moved here. But before I go into all of this, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. And I have something in my eye and I can't touch it because I was doing lucky numbers a moment ago and the crystals are kind of powdery and I hadn't washed my hands yet afterwards. So I can't touch my eye right now. But I digress. Okay. So yeah, when I moved here, there was some individual who was telling me that I didn't live here. And for those, my longtime listeners, my Firebirds already know the deal. So there was this person telling me that, oh, you're not supposed to be in this apartment, blase, 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 da 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 da. This happened back in September. And then the person came over again and said it, because I'm like, well, yeah, I'm very much supposed to be here. I felt that they might have been a little bit off in the head, maybe. But I was like, just in case, let me at least interact a little bit to say, hey, you can talk to such and such at the HOA. She can tell you. And as soon as I said the person's name at the HOA, he was like, well, I don't know who that is. And I'm like, okay, if you're even affiliated with quote unquote security or neighborhood watch or whatever, you should know who the main person at the HOA is. And it was whatever. So throughout this whole interaction process, I had looked at my video footage from my security system, my alarm system. And I didn't know at the time until I had seen it, but the individual actually attempted to access the unit and come inside is what he attempted to do. And I was like, okay, wait a second. So when I had seen that, I was like, all right, this has went too far. They've attempted to access the unit. And I went to my alarm system and hit the panic button, is what I did. And the alarm company called and they sent some police officers out. Now, The police officers came out, had the conversation with the guy, and I mentioned this before in another episode. And I was saying to the police officers, also, I have video evidence of this guy attempting to access my unit. Do you need to see the video? Do you need to see the video? And the police officers were like, no, we don't need to see the video. I'm like, oh, okay. But I held on to it because my spirit told me, it's like, my spidey sense. I got good spidey sense. It's called intuition. I was like, let me hold on to this just in case, because I may need it later. And I held on to it. Long story short, so the police officers were having the conversation with him, and then he was saying, well, I heard from 3 people that he wasn't supposed to be staying in this unit, and this, and I'm just like, you heard from 3 people? Like, how would they know anything? I showed the officers all of the documentation as well that was handled. And it was a done deal, and the police officers told him to stay away from me. I had called my attorneys, and the first attorney, when I was speaking to him about it, he was talking about that really, after I mentioned that I had video evidence of the individual attempting to enter the unit, the first attorney I spoke with at the firm, he was talking about really they should have pressed charges is what they should have done. I was like, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. I was like, I figured there was some type of law that was broken, as in attempting to enter a unit without permission that you don't have access to. And I was like, but maybe they just cut him a break because they felt he might not have been right in the head. And then my attorney was like, well, that's not your issue. That's his issue. And that still doesn't justify them not pressing charges. So my attorney was like, well, if it happens again, do this, and that. He gave me the what's the word? The play. Let's put it like that. Like the play, the bullet points of how to do it, of everything. And I was like, okay, cool. So a few weeks later, I received a bill in the mail. The bill was for $150. And I'm like, a bill? Wait a second. What's going on? So the $50 was for the alarm permit, because I haven't had an alarm system in 2 decades. And the new thing now is that in cities, because I looked it up, cities do this thing where you have to have a permit for the alarm, just in case you have false alarms and blah, 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 and all that stuff. Okay, fine, whatever. So I paid the $50, but then there was the $100 fee for a false alarm. And I'm like, that wasn't a false alarm. So I just disregarded it, is what I did, because the police report, there was a report taken. There was the incident number and so on and so forth. And the alarm company and, the police department, they work together. So I'm like, make it make sense. So then another notice came, and it's like, you need to pay this, or either we're going to suspend your permit and all this stuff. And I'm just like, have they not looked at the police report? So I call my attorneys again and let them know about it. And they're like, yeah, this $100 fee, no, whatever. They're like, this is what you can do. Go ahead and go through the process to appeal it. And then if that's the system turning on, if you hear it in the background, the heat, because it's gotten colder here in Texas. But I digress. So yeah, they were like, if you go through the process and you get pushback and they don't approve anything, let us know and then we'll send them a letter. Because again, I have video evidence of this person attempting to enter the property. So, I go ahead and I write them a letter, because I'm like, okay, dude, what's going on here? Give me a second. I should have had that letter ready. Search in mail. I'm going to type appeal, because that's what I had to send. Okay, that's not it. That's because I'm in the wrong. I have like 15 email addresses. I kid you not. Here it is. All right, now is in the right email address. Okay, so I write to them on November the 30th, and I'm like, to whom it may concern, I have received another notice about a false alarm saying I am 60 days past due. The original incident, which happened in September, was not, and I put in capital letters, a false alarm. I filed a police /incident report with the officers who came out to help resolve the situation. In addition to that, I can provide video, capital letters, evidence of the individual attempting to access my property without, capital letters, my consent. If someone is still saying it is a false alarm, I need for this to be explained to me, especially since I am new to the area, because I really do not understand how someone attempting to access your property does not warrant having the alarm company contact the police. I look forward to hearing from you. Warm regards, and then da-da-da-da-da-da. Then they reply back on December the 14th, good evening, your appeal has been sent to the alarm administrator for review, and we will reach out to you once a decision has been rendered from the Dallas Alarm Permit Compliance Unit. Okay. So, in the mail, right a little bit after Christmas, it was sent out on the 17th, but I don't check my mailbox that often. I check my P.O. box more, I guess you could say, than my mailbox sometimes. But so this came out, and it says appeal approved. It says the appeal board has reviewed your request for reconsideration of the false alarm fees charged to your alarm site and has reversed the assessment of the fees and or fines. The enclosed alarm history reflects a waiver of false alarm fees previously charged to your alarm location. If you have any questions, please contact da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da. And then I have all these papers showing that the credit has been there, and obviously I'm going to hold on to them for at least 2 years. I hold on to stuff for a long time. I still have stuff from almost 10 years ago. And sometimes it's just good to have receipts. That's just my thing. So, yeah. But that's what happened. So I won my appeal. Yay! Justice wins in the end. I just wanted to give you guys this update on, because I know for some of my longtime listeners, I mentioned that I planned on fighting the $100 fee. And yes, the little guy won. So, it's all good. And if they would not have approved it, then I would have contacted the attorneys and had them send the letter and then see what happens. And then after that, I would have probably seen about going through court or what have you. Because with video evidence, I was not going to back down. I don't care what it would have cost me or whatever. But it all worked out in the end. I got great news before the new year started. And it's awesome that I won my appeal and I don't have to pay the fee. So I'm happy about that. I'm not doing, and now I'm through discussing that. If you want to sort of check out from here, those who have listened thus far or watched thus far, feel free to. As for this week, I probably won't do that much because I did the tarot readings last weekend. I will do a sports episode this weekend. I'm not, at least one. I'm not going to say how many, could be more. I will do a sports episode this weekend. I'll do that because I need to do another sports episode. But when I do a lot of readings, because it can drain your energy too at times, and then also I work on other stuff too besides this, and also I have a regular job as well. So there are things that I do that require my attention. And yeah, so I'll do lucky numbers this week, and I may do a news story here and there. I might do a daily thought tomorrow, or if I have the bandwidth, I might do one today, depending. But it'll just be like maybe 2 episodes a day, which will be the lucky numbers and something else. And then this weekend I might do 2 or 3 episodes, but I won't do a whole lot. So just a heads up on that. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting the show, the podcast. The listenership has been steady. And I appreciate all of you for listening to the podcast and in doing that. I really do. I'm just so many things. If people only knew. And that's why I say, I know everybody goes through something or is going through something, because again, it's called life. That's what we have to deal with sometimes. And it will not always be sunshine and rainbows and peaches and ice cream and all this other stuff. You have other things that you have to deal with. And I get it. And we just have to keep going, is what I always say. At least that's what I do. I just keep going. So, yeah. I'll figure out what I plan to do. There's another plane flying over. I don't know why there have been planes flying over recently. That hasn't been a thing. So whatever is going on, who knows? But yeah, I think that's all I have. I'll update you as to what I plan to do. The full moon in Cancer is on the 17th of January, I believe. So I may do a full moon reading, because it's, which I've been doing full moon readings anyway for the collective and new moons too. But definitely because it's a full moon in Cancer, my sign, I have to do a full moon reading for the collective. I don't know when I'll do it though. Usually my goal is to usually do it about a week before it happens. So I might even do it this weekend is what I may do. I don't know. I just have to see what's going on. So yeah. And some other things, like I said, are happening. I'll keep you posted and we'll go from there. Anyways, I got things to do. I need to get going. Love all of you very, very much. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn. Wait a second. Why do I feel like I already said Amazon Music? Did I say Amazon? No, I said Apple Music. Okay, yeah, Amazon Music and Audible and several other podcasting platforms. Speaking of which, I have received an email from someone from another platform that I need to look into that my podcast is allegedly on. So yeah, I need to check into that too. KIRWKC on all social media platforms. Yes, more stuff is coming. And I haven't forgot about some episodes that I mentioned I was planning on doing. It's just bandwidth. I got to get them done, and I don't want to get overwhelmed. And also, I'm working on my work-life balance too, as they call it. Like, not being all work all the time. So I'm working on that as well. So yeah, that's it. Let me get going. I'll talk to you hopefully tomorrow. I don't take any day for granted. Until next time, be blessed.